Hi, and welcome back to Settled. Sean Kiefer here again, and I'm going to continue on the tutorial training series and do a tutorial on the child support calculator. We're starting out on the dashboard today. If you're going to need to be logged onto the site to see this, so we'll gather that you're already logged in and everything. So to use the child support calculator, we're going to simply press child support calculator, and it'll take us over to the particular worksheets. It's a very straightforward user template. You take the traditional information that we need for a child support calculation and simply either select or use the drop downs. So let's say a plaintiff has custody of 3 children, and let's say the plaintiff is Mary Mother. And we have Frank Father as the father. Default names obviously just as need be. So let's say that the plaintiff's monthly income is $12.57 and that the father earns $49.50. We'll lay off alimony at the moment, but if you needed to enter the alimony, it would be entered here. I mean, even for let's just say there was $400 alimony paid by the defendant, so we will put something in. The program will automatically fill in who's receiving it. Let's say that there is no other child support paid, but were it, you would simply enter it here. It will say there's no other children in the home. Let's say that the plaintiff is paying work-related daycare of $200 a month, and the defendant pays health care of $150 a month, no extraordinary medical expenses. Once that's all entered, and you can move between these fields by the mouse, or you can tab between the fields to move along. But once everything's entered, you simply come down and press calculate, and it will return the child support numbers. And this is not based on the South Carolina guidelines. This is not consistent with the guidelines. This is the actual database and the actual formula that any of the other calculators in South Carolina used, even if you pulled it out and did it by hand. It'll show how much to be paid to which party, standard and with 5%. Now, on any of the calculations, what you have the ability to do is select Generate PDF, and when you select that, it'll ask you for some general information, the county name, which is the county you would be hearing the case in, the judicial circuit, and the docket number. Press Generate Now, and what it will do is generate a PDF that's captioned, and it'll show the exact information from the guidelines with the standard and the 5% broken down over the different payment amounts. If for some reason you didn't want to have any identifier language entered on there, you simply, when it comes time to print it and leave that off. This can be emailed to the clients via your regular work email, the regular judicial email. You can save it locally to your machine, or you could print it from the bench and hand it out to them. The templates are much the same. Worksheet A, Worksheet B. Again, simply selecting the number of children supported, the names of the parties with the standard information, and you can, as on any of them, tab through, or you can select with your mouse. On the Worksheet C, what you can do is use your overnight calculator to say you have 3 children supported, and so we pull up the overnight calculator, and there are, out of 14 days, the visiting parent has 5 overnights. It's an alternating summer arrangement, alternating holidays. You get 146 overnights. You simply come here and enter 146. As you move through, it'll put the 219. Have Mary Mother, Frank Father, and I believe our incomes were $12.57 and I think $4,800 with $400 of alimony paid by the defendant. It'll populate everything. Child daycare of $200. I'm sorry, remove that. Work-related daycare by the plaintiff of $200 and $150 for the health insurance. When you do the calculation, it'll do it on the appropriate Worksheet C calculator, putting in the numbers here. On any of the calculators, it'll do the income percentage split for each party, And when you generate the PDF, the same information would be entered. So when you generate it, you'll pull your PDF up and it'll have everything in showing how the alimony is paid. It'll show the number of overnights and then the breakdown down here for payment. If you need to come back in and change anything, say for instance that the defendant paid support of $350 for another child and that the plaintiff had one other child in the home, you can see that the 805 then changes to 827, taking into account everything that's squared away there. That's the same thing as well for worksheet A or worksheet B. Third-party worksheet. This is a worksheet that is designed when a third party has custody, say, of, again, 3 children, and you have Mary, mother, and Frank, father. Let's say that we're back at the 1257 and the 4800. We'll go with our same $400 alimony that is paid by the defendant. We'll enter zeros for monthly support and other children. Let's say that the third party is paying daycare of $500 a month, but the defendant does continue to pay through his work $150 health insurance. What this third party worksheet does is essentially runs a worksheet A calculation and then looks at the plaintiff's share and the defendant's share and calculates what each person's share would be under the guidelines and directs it to the third party, but it also would allocate the $500 at $27.73 between the two parties. So if that, for instance, was taken out and you did the calculation, the child support would drop accordingly. Defendant's $150 is still allocated only for the health insurance between the defendant and plaintiff. None of it is allocated to the third party. And as with anything, you can print out a PDF for that as well by selecting the PDF and entering the appropriate information. The final calculator is an excess guidelines calculator, and it is designed to give the court a starting point based on the guidelines for incomes where the combined income exceeds the $30,000 that the child support calculator, the child support calculations we have in South Carolina would be able to do. So let's just say that the plaintiff has custody of 3 children, and you have Mary, mother, and Frank, father, and we're going to kind of play off the same numbers we had before. We're using a minimum wage income, and it's just a starting point for us, but say instead of $4,800 that the defendant made $48,000. In this scenario, what we're looking at is, let's say that there is work-related daycare well, actually, let's leave that out for the moment. Let's say that the father is paying health insurance of $300 a month. What this calculator will do is do 2 calculations: a continuously increasing income model, which essentially says that if at the cap of the guidelines, $30,000, the child support was X, then using that same proportionate increase, what would it be at, say, this scenario where we have $49,000 and change in income? So it's going to be just a direct increase. The capped income model caps the income, essentially looking at the changes incrementally in the guidelines as they increase to $30,000. In other words, the change percentage-wise between $10,000 and $20,000, those changes are higher than the incremental changes in child support from $20,000 to $30,000 under our child support guidelines that we use. So at some point, as the child support incrementally goes up, the changes between the incremental stages becomes less and less, and what we've done is we've phased it out at right around $1 million, because and we picked that number because in South Carolina that captures almost, in excess of 99% of the income. And when you hit the calculator, you're going to get 2 different numbers here. So on the continuously increasing model, proportionally it will be 55-75, and under the cap model it would be $3,900. I don't know that either of those is right. I know that that is going to give a range that the court can look at as they start to do some consideration, because this allows, using the increase in the cap model, some analysis of what's going on with the guidelines to be able to look to a particular and specific amount as the court comes through and makes those case-by-case determinations. So those are the 5 different calculators: A, B, C, third party, and excess. I didn't do a worksheet B. It works the same as the worksheet A and C. I just kind of skipped over that because we don't use that one that much. But that is the overview of the child support calculator. Email us at support@settle.com if you have any questions concerning any of the functions of the child support. I will end by saying presently what we are doing is we are going to combine, for worksheet A and C, the net available income calculator. So what you're going to be able to do is enter all the information for child support and what I'm about to show, what will be on the next tutorial, and have those return on the same report, so there will be no need to move back and forth between the sheets. But what we wanted to do is get you going on the child support now so you can start to work with it and become familiar with it as we move through with some of the updates that we're going to be doing for y'all. So come back and look at the net available income tutorial, which is next. Thank you so much.